Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from the book Artificial Agency. What if your entire company could operate less like a rigid, top-down machine and more like like an intelligent, adaptive network? Let's get into it.
So, let's start with a question that probably feels painfully familiar to a lot of you out there. You've got a simple, straightforward task, say getting a contract reviewed, and somehow it just vanishes into the system for weeks on end. Why, in this day and age, does everything feel so incredibly slow and fragile?
Well, the book makes a really powerful argument here. It's not your people. The problem is the organization's core operating system. It's built on a totally outdated model that tries to specify every single step, making it rigid, brittle, kind of like an old broken-down piece of code from the 1960s.
And this really gets to the heart of the conflict. On one side, you have what the book calls the compiled organization, where all the roles and processes are basically hard-coded. And on the other, you have the context-oriented organization, which is way more fluid and adaptive. It figures out what needs to get done in real time. This is the big shift we're going to unpack.
Okay, so to really understand this shift, we first have to look at the actual language we use to coordinate work. It's a pretty fundamental change in how we communicate instructions and, what we're actually trying to achieve.
Right. So the old way is imperative. It's basically a series of direct commands. Do this, then do that, then do this next thing. But the new way, it's declarative. You don't spell out the steps. You just state the outcome you want and the rules of the game, the constraints. You let the system itself figure out the how.
Here's a classic imperative command. I mean, we've all seen this email, right? The person, John, is hard-coded. The action, review, is explicit. The object, these 10 contracts, is super specific. Everything is locked in. The problem is, if John is on vacation or swamped, the whole process just grinds to a halt. It breaks.
And now check this out. This is the declarative way, and it's brilliant. Notice what's missing? There's no person's name. Instead, it just defines the capabilities that are needed, like 5+ years of experience, and the success criteria, like getting it done in 48 hours. It describes what needs to be true, not who needs to do it.
Okay, so if you're not telling a specific person what to do, how does anything actually get done? Well, the answer lies in this really powerful new concept called a context.
So what exactly is a context? The best way to think of it is like a smart, executable job description. It's not some fuzzy mission statement. It's a formal, machine-readable spec that defines the purpose of a task, the skills you need, the info required, and what success looks like, all without being tied to one specific person or team.
All right, let's watch this play out in a real scenario. A new contract pops up. The system instantly understands what's needed and then searches the entire organization, not just one department, for the absolute best person with the optimal capabilities for this specific contract. It then gathers up all the necessary info and assigns the task. It's incredible.
And the result? This is not a small improvement. That same contract review that took a painful 6 weeks of emails and meetings and follow-ups in the old, compiled org is now completely done in just 4 hours.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. This is not a 10 or 20% gain. We're talking about a 200 times acceleration in coordination speed. This is a totally different way of operating. It's a massive leap in performance.
But this new model doesn't just make you faster. It unlocks what the book calls 3 superpowers, capabilities that are just fundamentally impossible to achieve in a traditional compiled organization.
So the first superpower is semantic coordination. This just means the system understands the actual meaning of the work, not just some keywords in a ticket. It can intelligently route a task to the absolute perfect person for that job instantly.
Just look at this customer escalation example. In the old model, right, the issue bounces from Tier 1 to Tier 2 to a specialist, and it takes days, losing context every single time. In the new model, the system analyzes the problem and routes it directly to the one person with the exact skills to solve it with all the context preloaded. It's not faster escalation, it's no escalation.
Superpower number 2 is dynamic composition. And this is the ability to assemble the absolute perfect team for any project, on demand, from across the entire organization. In this world, teams become verbs, not nouns.
So instead of just assigning a project to some pre-existing team that might not even have the right skills, the system identifies the exact capabilities needed and pulls together the ideal group of individuals from anywhere in the company. This optimal team gets formed in days, not weeks, and it dissolves as soon as the project is done.
And the third superpower, honestly, this one might be the most profound of all: continuous adaptation. The organization can literally reshape itself in real time to respond to whatever the market throws at it. Just think about this for a second. No more painful, disruptive, soul-crushing reorganizations that take over a year and kill productivity. Instead, as the work itself changes, the organization's coordination patterns just evolve, smoothly and constantly. The whole organization becomes like a liquid, flowing to meet new challenges.
But here's the thing. The biggest barrier to this future isn't the technology, it's psychology. This model requires a really fundamental mental shift in how we think about ourselves and our work.
First, we have to let go of our identity being tied to a static job title. You are not a senior product manager. You are a collection of incredible capabilities, and right now, you happen to be occupying a senior product manager context. Your identity becomes about what you can do, not the box you're in.
This also completely changes our sense of ownership. We have to shift from that territorial view of "this is my job" to a more dynamic sense of stewardship. I am currently responsible for delivering this outcome. You still care deeply because your value is measured by the outcomes you help create.
And the crucial point here is that those rigid top-down hierarchies, they pretty much dissolve. Instead of just reporting up to a single manager who tells you what to do, you're now coordinating with colleagues in a fluid network. Your relationships are defined by the work itself, not by a box on an org chart.
So the book concludes that this shift from a compiled to a context-oriented organization, it isn't just some small incremental improvement. It creates a truly overwhelming competitive advantage. And that leaves all of us with a really critical question to think about. As this new paradigm starts to emerge, will you be the one leading the transition, or will you be the one getting disrupted by it?